Cole Harwood lived alone on a wide, quiet stretch of land in Montana. Every morning, he woke before sunrise, walked out onto his porch, and looked across the empty fields that once held hundreds of cattle. Now the barns were half empty, the fences needed repairs, and the bank kept sending him letters he didn't want to open. Life had not been kind to Cole in the past few years. Drought ruined his fields, sickness took many of his animals, and the long days of work wore down his spirit. Most people in town thought he liked being alone, but the truth was different. He simply didn't know how to let anyone in anymore. After his father passed away, Cole had tried to keep the ranch running the same way it had for generations. But without help, things slowly fell apart. He blamed himself every day, thinking he had failed his father, failed the land, and failed the dreams he once had. One afternoon, as a winter storm rolled in, Cole was riding back from the far pasture when he noticed something unusual near the fence line. At first he thought it was just a broken branch, or maybe an animal taking shelter from the cold wind. But as he rode closer, he saw movement small, weak, and unsteady. Cole slowed his horse, squinting against the blowing snow. On the ground, leaning against a fallen log, was a young woman. Her clothes were dusty and torn at the sleeves, and her face was pale from the cold. She looked up when she heard the horse, her eyes tired but alert. Cole jumped off his horse and hurried toward her. "Ma'am, are you all right?" he asked, keeping his voice calm so she wouldn't be frightened. The woman tried to stand but stumbled. I've been walking for hours," she said softly. "The storm came faster than I expected." Cole offered his hand, and she took it after a moment of hesitation. She was cold, exhausted, and breathing unevenly. He wrapped his jacket around her shoulders and guided her toward his horse. "You can't stay out here," he said. "My ranch is close. You'll be safe and warm there." She didn't argue. She looked as if she didn't have the strength left to fight the wind anymore. Cole lifted her onto the horse gently, making sure she was seated securely before climbing up behind her. They reached the ranch house before the worst of the storm hit, and Cole helped her inside, guiding her toward the fire he quickly lit. The woman sat close to the warmth, rubbing her hands together. Cole brought her a blanket and a cup of hot tea. For a long time, she didn't speak, as if unsure whether she could trust him. Cole didn't pressure her. He simply sat across from her, giving her space and time. Finally, she looked up. "My name is Eva," she said quietly. "Eva Marin." Cole nodded. "I'm Cole Harwood. You're safe here. You can rest as long as you need." Eva seemed relieved but also tense, as if she carried a heavy weight she wasn't ready to reveal. After a few more minutes of silence, she spoke again, this time with more strength in her voice. "I wasn't just walking," she said. "I was leaving. I had to." Cole didn't interrupt. He waited patiently. Eva continued. "My family had a small homestead 2 towns away. My parents passed a few years back, and I tried to manage it alone. But someone I trusted, someone who said he wanted to help, he tricked me. He almost took everything. He still wants it." Cole listened carefully. There was no anger in Eva's voice, only fear and exhaustion. "So you ran?" Cole asked gently. "I didn't want to," Eva said, "but I didn't know what else to do. I needed time to think. And I needed someone who could teach me how to stand up for myself, how to protect what's mine. I can't let him take my home." She looked at Cole, her eyes steady now. "You brought me here," she said softly but firmly. "Now do it." Cole frowned slightly. "Do what?" "Teach me," Eva said. "Teach me how to ride better, how to fix things, how to handle a ranch alone. Teach me how not to be afraid." Cole leaned back in his chair, surprised. He expected her to ask for shelter, or food, or a ride into town. But instead, she asked for something bigger, something that required time, effort, and trust. He wasn't sure he had any of those things left to give. Eva noticed his hesitation. "I'm not asking for charity. I'll work. I'll help you with anything you need around the ranch. Just teach me what you know. You've lived this life your whole life. I need someone who understands it." Cole looked out the window at the falling snow. For years, he'd felt his purpose slipping away, like dust through his fingers. The ranch had become a reminder of everything he'd lost, not what he could still build. And yet, looking at Eva, he saw something familiar, the same fear he once felt. The same loneliness. The same feeling of standing on the edge of losing everything. "All right," he finally said. "I'll teach you, but it won't be easy." Eva gave a small, tired smile. "Nothing in my life has been easy." The next morning, the storm had passed, leaving the world covered in white. Cole stepped outside and found Eva already waiting by the barn, bundled in the blanket he had given her. She looked determined, ready to start. Cole taught her how to care for the horses, how to check the fences, how to patch small breaks in the boards. She listened carefully, took notes in a small notebook she carried, and asked questions whenever something confused her. Even when her hands hurt from the cold or her muscles ached from lifting tools, she didn't complain. Over the next days, she learned to ride with more confidence. Cole showed her how to guide the horse gently but firmly, how to stay balanced, how to trust the animal beneath her. The first time she rode across the field without wobbling, she laughed a soft, pure sound that Cole hadn't heard on his ranch in years. It surprised him how much that sound warmed the place inside him that had been quiet for so long. Evenings were quieter. Eva helped cook simple meals, and Cole told her stories about the ranch, about his father, about the old days when the land was full of life. Eva told him about her parents, her dreams for her homestead, and how she planned to rebuild it once she felt stronger and more prepared. Slowly, something changed inside Cole. He began to wake, with more energy, more purpose. Teaching Eva reminded him of the things he loved about ranching: the open sky, the honest work, the sense of achievement after a long day. The ranch no longer felt like a fading memory, it began to feel alive again. Eva changed too. She became less afraid, more confident. She spoke more freely, laughed more often, and found comfort in the quiet beauty of the ranch. Though the worry about her homestead still lived in her heart, she no longer felt powerless. One late afternoon, while fixing a broken fence together, Eva looked at Cole and said, "I didn't just find shelter here. I found strength." Cole paused, holding a hammer in his hand. He didn't know what to say. For so long, he believed he had nothing left to offer anyone. But Eva's words made him realize that helping her had helped him too. Winter settled in slowly, and every day they worked side by side. Cole began to understand that the reason he agreed to teach Eva wasn't just because she needed help, it was because she reminded him that life could still change, still grow, still give second chances. And though neither of them said it aloud, they both felt it, a sense that their meeting was not an accident. It was the start of something new, something that would change both of their lives in ways they could not yet imagine. Cole woke early every morning now, not out of habit, but because he felt something had changed inside him. For years he had carried a heavy feeling in his chest, like a cloud that refused to lift. But since Eva arrived, that cloud had slowly begun to break apart. He had someone to teach, someone to help, someone who reminded him that he still had value. The ranch felt different too. The barns seemed less empty, the mornings less cold, and the silence less lonely. Every day brought new tasks, and Eva was always ready to learn. Eva had grown stronger in both body and spirit. When she first arrived, she moved carefully, as if she expected life to hurt her again at any moment. But as the days passed, she found comfort in the routine. She fed the horses, repaired fences, swept the barn, and practiced riding until she could guide the horse with ease. She listened to Cole's instructions and followed them with dedication. Sometimes she stumbled or grew tired, but she always tried again. That determination made Cole admire her more than she knew. One crisp morning, as the sun slowly climbed over the hills, Cole found Eva sitting on the porch with a cup of warm tea. She looked peaceful, but thoughtful. Cole sat beside her, and for a few moments they watched the light spread across the fields. "I've been thinking a lot," Eva said softly. "I came here scared, confused, unsure of what to do. But now I feel ready to face my life again." Cole studied her expression. There was no fear there now, only quiet strength. "You've learned fast," he said. "You're stronger than you think." Eva smiled a little. "Stronger because you helped me." Cole didn't reply at first. He didn't know how to express the way her presence had changed him. Instead, he nodded and looked back at the field. The peace of the morning lasted only a short time before a pickup truck drove down the dirt road toward the ranch. Cole and Eva both stood. The truck was old, dusty, and unfamiliar. Cole felt a small wave of worry, not fear, but caution. Visitors were rare on his land, and unexpected visitors even more so. When the truck stopped, a man stepped out. He looked around the ranch with a thoughtful expression, not threatening, just curious. He had a folder under his arm and wore a badge on his jacket. Cole recognized him. He was the sheriff from the neighboring town. The sheriff walked up to them with a polite nod. "Morning," he said. "Sorry to drop by without calling ahead." Cole nodded back. "Morning. Something I can help you with?" Eva stood a little behind Cole, unsure of what this visit meant. The sheriff glanced at the folder in his hands. "I came because someone reported a missing person. A young woman. Name matches yours," he said, looking at Eva. Eva stepped forward slowly. "I'm not missing," she said. "I left on my own. I needed space. And time." The sheriff nodded as if he expected that answer. "I figured that might be the case. But I still had to check." He paused for a moment before continuing. "The man who reported you missing also filed some papers involving your family's property. Said he had your permission to manage it." Eva felt her stomach tighten. But she kept her voice calm. "I never gave permission. He wanted to take my home. That's why I left." The sheriff sighed. "That's what I suspected." His story didn't add up. And some folks in town said he's been pushing boundaries. Cole crossed his arms gently. "Is she in any trouble?" "No," the sheriff said firmly. "Quite the opposite. If you have any paperwork or notes about what happened, I can look into it properly. Maybe stop him from bothering you again." Eva looked surprised. For so long she had felt alone, unsure if anyone would believe her. Slowly, she nodded. "I wrote everything down," she said. "Dates, conversations, things he tried to do. I didn't know if it would matter. But I wrote it all." "That will help," the sheriff said warmly. "When you're ready, bring it to my office. We'll go through everything together." The sheriff left soon after, leaving a calm silence behind. Eva breathed deeply, relief spreading across her face. Cole looked at her gently. "That's good news," he said. Eva nodded. "It feels like the first real hope I've had in a long time." The next few days were filled with a lighter energy. Eva practiced her new skills with more confidence than ever. She rode across the ranch with steady hands. She fixed broken boards with ease. She learned how to read weather signs, how to calm a nervous horse, and how to plan long days of work. Cole watched her with quiet pride. One afternoon, while they were repairing old fence posts, Eva stopped and looked at the distance. "I think I'm ready," she said. Cole set down his tools. "Ready for what?" "To go back home," she replied softly. "Not to stay there yet, but to speak for myself. To show that I'm not afraid anymore." Cole knew this moment would come, but hearing it still surprised him. He wiped his hands on his jeans and looked at her carefully. "You've come a long way," he said. Eva stepped closer, her voice steady. "Because you helped me find my strength. You gave me a place to breathe. You believed I could learn." Cole felt something warm in his chest at her words. "You did all the hard work," he said. "I just showed you the path." Eva looked around the ranch. "I'll come back," she said. "If that's all right with you. I want to help here too. If you want that." Cole felt a small smile tug at the corner of his mouth. "I'd like that," he said simply. 2 days later, Eva went into town with Cole driving her. The sheriff met them with a friendly wave. Together, They went through all the notes Eva had kept. There was no anger, no fear, only truth. The sheriff assured her that everything would be handled with fairness and care. When they left the office, Eva felt lighter than she had in years. She looked at Cole beside her, grateful beyond words. "Thank you," she whispered. "Not for the ride. Not for the day, but for everything." Cole nodded softly. "You're not alone anymore." They returned to the ranch before sunset. The sky was painted with shades of orange and gold. Eva stepped out of the truck and breathed the cool air deeply. She looked at Cole, and he looked back, understanding passing between them without words. In the days that followed, Eva stayed at the ranch as she had promised. She worked beside Cole, not because she needed his help anymore, but because she wanted to be there. The ranch slowly grew livelier. Cole began fixing the barn roof, planning new work for spring, and even thinking about bringing in more cattle. Eva helped with every task, adding her energy and ideas. Cole found something he didn't realize he had been missing: hope. Eva found something she never had before, a place where she felt safe and valued. They didn't rush anything. They didn't need to. Their bond grew naturally, gently, like the quiet rise of morning light. Cole no longer woke up to silence and sadness. He woke up knowing someone else believed in the ranch's future. Eva no longer felt powerless. She felt strong, supported, and capable of building a new life. One peaceful evening, as the last light faded, Cole stood on his porch and watched Eva walking toward the horses. She moved with confidence and grace, as if she belonged there. And Cole realized something important. This was his salvation, not in a dramatic moment, but in the slow, steady way another person's presence had brought color back into his quiet world. Eva had arrived in a storm, lost and tired, and together, without even trying, they had helped each other heal. Neither of them knew exactly where life would lead next, but they knew one thing clearly: they were no longer walking their paths alone.